When I was in college for graphic design, I had a hard time wrapping my head around using the computer to do stuff because I hadn't really had a ton of computer access before. Unlimited access, I should say. I would get maybe an hour or two in the computer lab, maybe if I'm lucky, but most of the time was spent back then managing 3.5-inch floppy disk drives, learning how to split a file across multiple drives to get something somewhere if it's over 1.44 megabytes. Man, it was a pain in the ass. And in a lot of ways, it still is a pain in the ass. So I don't do certain things. I'm not driven to do certain things on a computer, personally. And there's certain things I can only do on the computer because that's where technology has gone. And for me, it's something I have to use to interact with the world in certain ways. And besides that, if I could get away with not doing it, I wouldn't. But it makes my life easier in a lot of ways. And it's challenging in a lot of ways at the same time. So it's here, and it's technology, and that's the thing. Once technology has been introduced, there's no going back. And one of the classes that I had that really helped me wrap my mind around best way to use the computer was when my professor said the computer is just a tool. It's not going to make your design. It's not going to make the logo for you. It's a tool you use to make the logo. And when it comes to this AI stuff, I'm looking at it as the same way, as it's a tool. A tool you use to get something done, or a tool you use in a process, as part of a process, to get something done. For art, in the art world, some people will make stuff that other people might not like, one way or the other. Some people will be attracted to what you draw. It'll resonate with some people. It won't resonate with others. And that's one of the things that you have to learn about and get over. The fact that not everybody will like your stuff. The problem is, the more people like your stuff, when someone doesn't like your stuff, if you're not ready for it, if you haven't had to handle that before, if you haven't had the right mindset about, hey, this is not for you, but not get militant about it at the same time, which is tricky. And just keep moving on. It's like, okay, well, glad you took the time to see what I made. Now, there is that aspect of it. And then there's the other aspect of it. The no-nos, the things you don't do at all. The things you don't do, the things that aren't respected, from my point of view in the art world, is lazy art and stolen art. And the way AI has been used hits both of those perfectly. So it has a negative rap because most of the cases in which it's used, it's been to steal from other people, and it's low effort. If I look at a piece of work and I'm saying, oh wow, that's amazing, and the artist is there and I was like, oh man, can you tell me more about this? And they say, yeah, I typed in a sentence into the computer and out came this. My value perception of that piece of art goes to the shitter. I lose respect for the artist. And it's like, that's all you did? You do anything else? Nah, I didn't do anything else. Jesus Christ, I'm walking off. I might have had some dollars in my pocket. I might have been willing to give that guy, right? And I hear that story and I'm out. Versus if he said, yeah, I had this thing going on one day and I started working on this piece. I had an idea for this, but I didn't know how to do it. And then there's a whole story about them trying to figure out how to get this done and overcoming obstacles and challenges and the process and the it's just like a story about it, because that's another thing that people overlook with art. It's like you're buying art and you're also buying the story of how it was made. And AI art doesn't have, in its current iteration, how it's been used right now. Hey, I typed something into the computer. That's the perception. I typed something into the computer and I got this image out. Or I stole from an artist. I trained it. You train it on someone else's art, and then you get this image. Blatant copyright issues on there. I'm sure you didn't most of the time. That was not done with the artist's approval. They didn't know. I've seen tons of artists see their name pop up on different algorithms for, hey, you can get your art to look like this guy, you get your art to look like this chick, you get your art to look like this person. And they're not getting any money from that. They don't know about it. They might or might not have consented to it. And it's a bad look all around. So, lazy and plagiarism is the current consensus about what AI art is. So as soon as you say AI art and you think it's lazy, you're thinking it's stolen. Much the same way NFTs, you'll think, hey, it's a scam. Rightfully so. It's like, hey, this is the whole conversation. Like, it's been dominated. There's some people who love it, but you cannot deny the fact that there were so many scams that came out on the advent of NFTs being introduced that it has a bad rap, especially at this point. Earlier on, it'd be easier to say, hey, well, blah, blah, blah. But there's just been so many scams centered around NFTs that it just has a bad rap. It's like, you might as well say, hey, I'm going to take your money. And AI art has a bad rap for exactly what I just said before, lazy and plagiarism. But underneath it all is a tool